Hey there, movement community. My name is Clay, and well, I happen to be an average gamer. Anyway, last week I finished Dead Space 2, so here you go. I'm finally being able to bring you the review from beginning to end. My experience with the game, kind of let you know what I thought of it, and answer a few questions that maybe a few of you may have about the game. Excuse me. The first of which is exactly who is this game for? Before I start going into details about the gameplay and the game itself, um, who is this game for? Well, this game is definitely M for mature. I would suggest anybody that has a weak stomach, anybody that is easily frightened, anybody that does not like strong language or disturbing graphics, you might want to try a different game because there is not a point in this game where one of those things are not going on. Um, Now, the levels of difficulty as far as the gameplay, as far as getting into the game itself, as I mentioned before, this game is is set to a few different levels, four different levels. The last one is unlockable once you complete the game. I played on a easy difficulty, and the easiest one simply because all the gameplays that I do, my favorite game is Call of Duty. The gameplays I do, I try to play on the easiest level possible so I can get back to shooting little digital army men running around the screen, um, or at least making a valid attempt to do so. So the level of difficulty, it wasn't hard for me, but even though everything was simple, there were definitely times where um, I died. Definitely instances where I was overwhelmed by enemies, and so it can be difficult. I can only imagine as you rank up or as you get into a higher level of difficulty that exponentially would the difficulty would just increase greatly. Um, Now, for those of you that have not played Dead Space 1 or Dead Space 2, I would highly suggest going and checking out the first one before, if you do not play the first one. At the main menu or at the single player menu, there is a previously on Dead Space, and that's basically like a 2 or 3 minute trailer giving you a um, what happened before, so you can pick up this game and know kind of everything that's going on. Um, and it's very helpful because the game, once you actually start in the game, it doesn't go into a great bit of detail. It hints around on things that happened in the past, but does not go into any great detail or any links about kind of what you've been through and what Isaac, which is the main character's name, has gone through. Now, the gameplay, getting into the gameplay, of course, this is a third-person horror slasher thriller game. The controls themselves, they're pretty easy to pick up. One of my absolutely favorite things about this is how immersive this game is. There's never an instance where you feel like you're outside of the game, and I'll kind of get into that a little bit here in a second. Um, but the controls and everything, the way the game works, is if not identical, it is very similar to the way that the first one works. Now, starting off on Dead Space 2, you wake up in a medical facility. It shows that you're in a straitjacket. You're talking to doctors, and this is more like a dream for him. It seems like whenever he finally wakes up, he's in this medical facility, and objective is, I mean, you can tell in the instant you start the game, that something has gone terribly wrong. And so, anyway, his job is to get off of this space station that he is in. And unfortunately, how he has to do that is by going through many enemies, all of which typically on these games, shooting them in the face seems like a pretty good idea. Well, this is the way you kill these guys is cutting their limbs off. So the whole time you've got the different weapons you have are always come to things that will slice these things in half, basically legs, arms, head, and so on and so forth. The environment that you run around, I mean, everything that you do, it lets you know you are in a bad place. You are in a place you do not want to be. And there's always this sense of urgency that kind of keeps you on the toes. And I think a big part of that is the audio. The audio in this game is absolutely awesome. You always feel like you're hearing things around you. There's always just that sense of urgency that you better stay on your move. Typically, whenever you get to a place where you have a save station, which are placed throughout the game and in different areas, um, that is one of the only times that you can kind of take a breath and say, "Ah, thank goodness." Um, but there is some cool things. The first one, of course, it had the zero gravity. The second one has zero gravity as well. It has puzzles that you can do. Now, the zero gravity is a little bit different than it was in the first one, and there are probably a few more puzzles. But all in all, like I said, the environments themselves are very very cool. The graphics are extremely awesome. As far as the inventory, the inventory in the store, they seem to work well. You pick up items. You can pick up items pretty much from any and everything that you walk past, be it crates or killing enemies. It really doesn't matter, but you can pick those things up. You can sell them at the store and purchase items that you need, or if things that you think you may need in the future, you have a bank that you can set things in. As far as the person, one of the things about that I think the coolest is, typical games you have a HUD screen, you have a health bar, power bar, whatever. You don't have this on these. They actually show you your health. As you've seen, probably the blue glow here on the spine, and that's your health bar. Um, in the HUD, there's not a map in there. You can find your way from objective to objective by pulling up a screen on your wrist pad, and there you see your objectives. You can go to the store. You can find benches where you can upgrade your weapons and armor, um, and that's kind of how you find your way around this ship, the space station. Um, Now, weapons and armor. There are many, 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 many kinds of weapons that are pretty cool. And as you go on, of course, you can upgrade your armor. Typically, what you will find are schematics that are hidden throughout the entire gameplay, and you can pick those up and then take those to the store, download those to the store, and you will be able to purchase those. Um, and that, of course, this is for the default armor. There's actually a pack out where you can purchase armor and purchase new weapons. And I did go ahead and get these just so I could see what they were like and how they were. I didn't use them during my gameplay, but if I ever go back and play it again, I'll do that just for fun. But I did find that the final suit you get is better than any suit that you can actually purchase anyway. The weapons, you can go from an assault rifle to a line gun that basically shoots a horizontal, 3-foot laser beam out at towards your enemies that comes in handy for taking on multiple enemies. You have I think it's called a Reaper, and it basically shoots a saw blade out. They all have primary and secondary functions. I found that a lot of times the primary weapons would work out just fine as far as killing enemies go, but there would be times where you would have be overrun by enemies and need a little extra ammo, and that's really what the secondary weapon I found typically would give you. Now, you also had the option of using what was called stasis, and stasis basically froze objects and or enemies in their place to give you, if it was an object, time to get past it, which was used a lot when dealing with the puzzles, or it would deal with freezing an enemy long enough where you could actually just take it out. You're also going to have quite a few other weapons in your arsenal in order to take care of these enemies as you're working your way through the spaceship. There's a javelin, for instance. It's got the typical assault or typical ray gun that you start off with. But I encourage you to try all those out: flamethrowers, grenade launchers, sniper rifles, you name it, and it's on there, and it's very very cool. Um, Another thing is this game had some extremely awesome cutscenes, and they were not necessarily um, they were cutscenes, but they would a lot of times try to bring you into the cutscenes. So instead of watching these cutscenes, you're actually active and with these cutscenes. So you may be doing something and you come to a scene where a giant monster jumps out at you, and it takes into like this kind of movie mode, and then all of a sudden you find that you've got to start tapping X to get out of it. I found myself I would actually die from time to time just because I got so involved with these cutscenes that I didn't realize. Oh wait, I'm supposed to be doing something. Um, so anyway, the cutscenes on this are extremely good. Um, and some final thoughts on this game. I'm telling you, this is one of my all-time favorite games. I think probably Batman: Arkham Asylum is my favorite single player that I've played recently, at least for the PS3. Now, my favorite game of all time, but definitely the one of my favorites that I've played for a PS3. Also, you definitely have to like horror to play this game. It was, and if you play at night like I did, make sure that you cut the game off about 30 minutes or so before you have to go to bed, because I would seriously have to come and sit down, check out YouTube, and just kind of chill out for about 30 minutes because it was so tense throughout that game that my entire body was just worked up, and no way I could go to sleep. Uh, Now, was it worth it? Was it worth spending the $60 on the game? And I would say absolutely. And it was even worth the the $5 or whatever it was to get the extras in the game. I think it's definitely a $60 game for those that like that these type of third person horror type games. Yes, I would highly suggest it. I would say out of 10 stars, I'd give this thing at least a 9.5, maybe a little more, but I'm gonna give it a 9.5. Like I said, I enjoyed it thoroughly. I'm glad that I've got to bring you clips of this game, and I hope you enjoyed the clips that I decided to show you. Movement community, thank you guys very much for joining me for this Dead Space 2 review. I hope you guys have enjoyed it. If so, feel free to check out my channel, YDML2P. I try to provide you guys with some diverse gameplay, some fun commentary, and a few extras here and there. As always, feel free to rate, comment, or subscribe. Guys, this is the Average Gamer talking a little bit about Dead Space 2. I am out. Thank you very much. Peace.